Well, as I predicted, or as I imagined, there's been an interruption in the whole Week of Nerves thing because the Pope has resigned. This has only happened 4 times in history, and the last time it happened was in 1415. Which makes you wonder, what are the chances? Well, actually, the chances are fairly high, but I'll come back to that in a bit. The last time a Pope resigned was in 1415, when Pope Gregory XII resigned because of the Western Schism, which was the schism between the Avignon popes and the Roman popes, because one of the popes decided that he shouldn't go and live in luxury because it was a church and so forth, and therefore that there should be more concern about poverty and so forth. And that was how the schism arose, and it was resolved when Gregory XII resigned. It hasn't happened since then. It's a little bit surprising that it's happened at all, in a way. Now, there is a document which suggests that the Pope that is about to be elected will be the last Pope. This is called the Prophecies of St Malachy, named after, I'm not sure if I pronounced his name right, named after a 12th century Irish saint. It's probably a forgery. The Church regards it as a forgery, and most people regard it as a forgery because it isn't mentioned in the biography of Malachy's life, and it doesn't appear until 1595. Now, one suggestion is that the author is in fact Nostradamus, which is quite interesting, and in fact I think some of the wording of that actually suggests that it is. The prophecy consists of a list of popes from Peter right up until the present day, in fact, or in fact the next few months, and each pope is given a motto. The motto of Pope John Paul II was De Labore Solis, or from the labour of the sun, and the interpretation of that is that it was because he was born during a solar eclipse and interred during a solar eclipse, although the probability of that is actually quite high if you think about it. The current Pope, Benedict the 14th or 16th, I'm a bit dyslexic as far as the numbers are concerned, is called Gloria Olivae, if it's seen as referring to him, Glory of the Olive branch being associated with the Benedictine order, and the Olivetans also with the church, high up position in the church. That's the way they fit it, but of course that fitting could be seeing patterns where there's nothing there, or it could be with hindsight. And in fact, obviously, the older list of popes, that was available to people, and it would be to do with hindsight. Now, the interesting thing is what happens after this pope, according to that list, which is that the next pope, Petrus Romanus, is the last pope. And what it says about that is, and I'm going to read this, in persecutione extrema SRE sedebit Petrus Romanus, qui pascet oves in multis tribulationibus, quibus transactis civitas septicolis diruetur, et judex tremendus judicabit populum suum. Finis. In other words, Peter the Roman, who will feed the sheep in many tribulations, when they are finished, the city of 7 hills will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge his people. The end. In other words, it's the end of the world, or the end of the church at least, and the end of Rome, which is a fantastic city, by the way. You really should go there if you get the chance. Well, why would the next pope be the last pope? As far as we're concerned, could it be to do with secularization? Could it be to do with the discrediting of the Catholic Church? I mean, it's a long history during which it's been able to fight. I actually think that there is a chance because of the chances thing. We think, why are we alive at a time when a pope has resigned? Well, the answer is that we're actually quite likely to be alive because as time goes on, there are more and more people, and this connects to the Doomsday Argument. There are currently 7 odd billion people in the world, and we're actually quite likely to be alive at this point, so in a way it's very probable that we would see a pope resign. It's not like it's a fair sample, and this connects to the Doomsday Argument, because population goes up, and as it goes up, the probability of being alive when the world ends increases, or at least when human civilization ends. So in fact, the Doomsday Argument argues that the world is very likely to end, or civilization, or the extinction of the human species, you are much more likely to be alive at that point if population is always increasing than at any other time. And this is one of the reasons why I think the world, constantly go on about the world being about to end, or civilization being about to end. So in fact, in a way, wherever Malachy comes from, and by the way, Nostradamus was a Neo-Platonist like Giordano Bruno, actually that prediction could turn out to be correct, because it's simply more probable that it would happen at this point. We don't know why it would happen, but it could happen, and it is more likely than at any point in the past, because there are more people, and therefore we are more likely to be alive at that point. See you tomorrow, maybe? Who knows?